Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining for our next discussion topic. This one is on assessment. So we'll be looking at assessing our students' knowledge, retention, and application of an aviation concept or procedure, because it is an essential component of teaching and learning. So the topic I chose to do was on navigating via GPS. A lot of the stuff you're going to see is going to come out of the Aviation Instructor's Handbook, Chapter 7, as well as a couple of things I referenced from various ACSs. So learning objectives, kind of broke it down into three components here: knowledge, application, and decision making. Because we're talking about navigating via GPS, I want to go over, and kind of what I'm assessing here is a fundamental knowledge, the ability to describe GPS fundamentals, what WASP, RAIM is, limitations, how to plan and execute navigational tasks and flight planning using GPS and WASP, and decision making throughout that process. For example, being able to detect GPS, WASP failures, use any sort of mitigation strategies, backups, alternate nav aids, etc. For this scenario, I figured I'd go over kind of a brief fundamentals of the GPS topic with my student before testing their knowledge. So I'll talk about satellite constellation, trilateralization, how the position's computed, talk about different signal types, and talk about limitations associated with GPS. I also wanted to dive into WASP. I think it's an important topic as far as navigating and utilizing GPS, both en route as well as on various types of approaches. So I'll talk through, what the wide area augmentation system is, what it does, what it enables us as pilots to do. It's important to understand, what we can do with it, when we need it, and how to use it, as well as a basic fundamental understanding of how it operates. And that is where the component aspect of it comes into. The geostationary satellites, the ground reference stations, master stations, what they are, how they all work together to provide us with an accurate location. Along with the topic of WASP is the topic of RAIM. So go dive into definitions, understand what the integrity monitoring is, how it works, understand what predictive RAIM is versus in-flight RAIM alerts and what they mean to us as a pilot. So for the assessment piece of this, which is the main meat and potatoes of it, I wanted to combine a knowledge quiz, a scenario-based exercise or practical, and then an observed test or their actual performance. I want to use ACS tasks such as navigation planning, GPS, VNav, LPV approach knowledge, and system failure management. So as per the instructor handbook, chapter 7, various characteristics of an assessment goes, I want it to be objective, valid, reliable, comprehensive, and efficient. Here's a sample quiz that I felt I could administer to a student to test their oral knowledge on the topic. I have various questions here, ranging from how does GPS work, how does it operate, what are common air sources, a couple top questions on WASP, RAIM, mixing in multiple choice, true and false, and some short answer type questions. Added 5 more here. Had a total of 10 questions that I thought broadly represent a lot of the topics that we're going to talk about when we're discussing GPS and navigating by GPS, as well as some practical questions. So for example, number 9 there, how do you verify your GPS database is current? That's something that they're going to actually do every time they get into the aircraft before they fly using GPS. Next up, I'd like to assess them via like a practical scenario, so simulated flight. I'll give them a scenario. In this one, it's planned 120 nautical mile cross country using GPS, and I expect them to be able to select waypoints, talk about fuel alternates. If this is instruments we're talking about, which it most likely is, talk about what sort of approach they're going to do, what sort of alternates they can use. I'm going to give them an in-flight inject, so give them a RAIM alert or WASP unavailable, and see how they handle that situation and how they replan. Here's the WASP failure in general. So after the assessment, I'll go into greater detail about a WASP failure, what we're assessing, and what me as the CFI would be looking for in that scenario. Added in a grading rubric here based on their oral knowledge, the practical planning and in-flight performance and professionalism, just a way for me to generalize and bring everything together to give an overall assessment grade of the student's performance and identify where their weak areas are. I have my instructor observation checklist, so pre-flight, during, and post-event, what things I'm looking for and assessing throughout this entire flight. And then important as well as remediation and feedback. So immediately give them a verbal debrief, talk about strengths, errors, corrective action, identify where we're going to focus that target practice, and then conduct a follow-up assessment. Proverbs, let the wise hear and increase in learning. So application there, continuous learning, accurate assessment. It promotes safety, stewardship, professionalism, humility. As instructors, it's very important to this topic. My references, and thanks for watching.